We are.
Good morning, everybody. Welcome to another episode of the Chop Sports Daily, coming to you live from the Flipping Made Easy studio right here in Matawan, New Jersey. It is Sturch, return of Gooch, Nick behind the glass. We hope you guys are all doing well out there in YouTubeville and everywhere you're watching right now as you're starting your morning with us, or if you're starting your morning at 11 o'clock, I would say you're behind the eight ball a little bit. But hope you guys are doing good. Hope Monday night treated you well. You can support this show by heading on over to patreon.com. And let me tell you something, Patreon is getting bigger and bigger. Reason being is that there is a new Break Buds scheduled for this Sunday coming up at what time?
8 p.m.
8
on
o'clock.
Sunday.
So you have to be a Patreon member to be involved in some of the giveaways that they do. So $3, $5, $10, the way to do it. So be sure to go over there and check that out as well. So we appreciate you guys. It also helps support Chop Sports. So in you can get yourself some prizes. So that's pretty dope. I think it's a cool thing.
I did start working on my fantasy rankings over the weekend. Be on the lookout for those too. I have some decent tidbits for mid-round drafts in my rundown. We'll get into that too.
I've been mocking my ass off lately. And you know, since I'm very, very dangerous from the 12 spot, it's tough sledding. I tell you right now, 12, you have to hit. Like you have to hit on 12, 13, because the amount of good talent that leaves the board after that is insane. So we'll get into all that on Friday for a Fantasy Friday when it's me and I don't know, whoever else is here, because Gooch going back to Lavalette. Gooch, we have ourselves a massive, massive rundown because I did a rundown yesterday. It wasn't too extravagant. And there was more stuff that I missed because I was more focused on how the Mets were rolling and how the Yankees were stinking. But there was a lot of stuff missed. So Gooch, catch us up, bro.
Yeah. So excuse me if I repeat anything because I didn't actually hear your rundown yesterday. I was busy catching rays, and I really wasn't. Though.
I watch the show when I'm out here. I watch the show all the time.
I don't even watch the show when I'm on it. So we all know how I feel about that. So no offense to anybody involved in the Chop Sports Daily, but I have a tough time.
All that hard work.
So
time to drain.
ESPN, this is breaking news. ESPN declined a seven-year, $2 billion deal to televise Big Ten football and Big Ten basketball games. The deal was for $380 million per year. And I think this is ESPN declining it. So Big Ten was offering them like, hey, take us, put us on your network.
Oh, so the Big Ten network was trying to go away?
So I don't know if they're going away, but for the elite premier games and nationally televised games, you won't be seeing any Big Ten football or basketball on ESPN for the next 7 years minimum. That's all I got on college football. We got some breaking news in the world of combat sports. Tyson Fury, just 3 months after announcing his retirement, is making a comeback fight against Derek Chisora for a trilogy. So be on the lookout for the dates and all that kind of good stuff. Jake Paul. I know Jake Paul's been a lightning rod in the news lately, but Jake Paul, that whole fight that got canceled this past week, Jake Paul is actually going to pay his undercard fighters 50% of their purses. So all the talk about the advocating fighter pay for the UFC fighters, and he's putting his money where his mouth is, and he's actually ponying up.
And that's why I put in the rundown. Good, Paul. This is actually a nice little gesture.
While he can be a scumbag at times, I think it's all an act, it's a good deal that he's paying some of these guys because it's a tough deal to lose out on.
Ready for a compliment real quick coming from the chat before you get on? My mother, you look tan.
Oh, thanks.
How about that?
That's the first time I've ever heard that in my life. So
that's what I'm saying. I look back, I was like, I'm looking at him like, really? I mean,
I will send you a prize. So more combat sports news. Israel Adesanya versus Alex Pereira is headlining the MSG card on November 12th. And surprisingly, look, maybe not so surprisingly, but to a lot of the people that don't really follow the sport, it's closer in odds than I would have anticipated, being the star that Adesanya is and the relative unknown that Pereira is. But Pereira's a beast. He made light work of Sean Strickland, and he has KO'd Israel Adesanya to sleep in a kickboxing bout before. I think even twice he may have beaten him. So he's been Adesanya's kryptonite. It'll be interesting to see how they incorporate the takedowns, if they do at all, in that one. So very excited for that fight. NBA news. Kevin Durant reiterates his demands, and he met with the owner, I believe, and the owner and KD could not come to terms on anything, and he still wants to be traded. He said it is either me or it is the Sean Marks and the Kevin Durant.
I can't get over this.
Steve Nash duo. So
oh my God.
KD wants out. He could stay if they get rid of Sean Marks and Steve Nash. I don't think that's going to happen because the owner came out and co-signed the ownership and the coaching, or the front office and the coaching, and saying that he believes in his ownership and his coach.
Marks is all like, all right, we're just going to trade you for a bag of balls.
So the KD saga lives on, and it's looking more and more like he will get traded, while we kind of thought he may not. But down to 3 teams. I'm not sure who they are, but they said 3 teams are still calling.
I'm sure there's calling. Yeah.
Major League Baseball news. Yankees end their 5-game skid, but they lose Matt Carpenter to a broken foot. He hopes to be back before the season's end, but it's good to get off the schneid and finally get a win post All-Star break.
Score some runs, too.
I believe we got Castillo round 2 tonight after missing out on the player. We get to face the player
fun.
2 times.
Good times.
And I'm sure you talked shit about Montas already.
I didn't really talk shit. I just didn't want people to jump off the ledge saying like, oh, he can't handle New York. Like, he was, first of all, he's pitching in St. Louis. So like, it's not even home yet.
Speaking of not jumping off the ledge, Manny Machado was asked if he's about to jump off the
ledge. Rob did cover this yesterday.
He's about to jump off the ledge because of the recent sweep at the hands of the LA Dodgers. And Manny Machado said, I'm not worried. And they asked, why, Manny? Why aren't you worried? And he said, because I'm Manny fucking Machado. That's why I'm not worried. And you got to love the confidence. I believe that the Padres will make a run. NFL, this is why we're all here. The NFL owners approved the sale of the Denver Broncos to, I believe, Walmart. I know it's not actual Walmart, but it's the Walton family who are the Walmart heirs. The Bengals, maybe we'll have some
Walmart. So it's like the Walmart, because is that how they got the name? Get the fuck. It's like the more you learn every day, I'm learning something new.
Don't quote me on it, but I mean, it seems.
Did you also know that every Walgreens is built on a corner?
I did.
Because they're on the corner of happy and healthy?
I did.
Wow.
I did.
I was yesterday.
Did you also know that McDonald's is not a fast food chain? After all, it is a real estate company.
What?
Some
Jesus
things, man.
Christ, my brain's on fire.
Anyway, moving on. Speaking of companies and things like that, Paycor Stadium. Does anybody know what that is?
That is now
the name of the new Bengals stadium. So maybe they'll be able to pay some of their players and upgrade their facilities, because we all know the Bengals have terrible facilities. And more important news, Aaron Rodgers did, in fact, not. I said that wrong. Aaron Rodgers did not violate the league substance abuse.
So now you can take hallucinogens now as an NFL player.
He could have been tested the day after, and they said he wouldn't have failed. So all good in the hood over in Lambeau Land. Roquan Smith wants out. He said, and I quote, the current GM regime does not respect or value me. So he wants out. Roquan Smith, one of the most underrated.
I don't think they value anybody in Chicago.
I mean, it's a rebuilding phase. It makes sense that they don't want to pay anybody, because paying him is a waste of money, because they're going to win 4 games this year at best. So Roquan Smith wants out. I won't even get excited about it, because the Bears weren't going to be good anyway, and I know he's not going to get moved to Green Bay. So moving on. Mekhi Becton, unfortunate news. He had an injury the other day, and they were originally saying that it wasn't so bad. MRI revealed that he could potentially be out for the season. So fingers crossed, prayers up for Mekhi Becton. I know he's had his share of weight issues, this, that, and he was determined to come back and prove all the naysayers wrong. He might not get that chance. Other injury news, or lack thereof, Ravens activate J.K. Dobbins. He is all set to go. Full steam ahead, ready for week 1. He had his first full practice, I believe, this morning. So that's good news for fantasy owners, and hopefully you'll see him maybe shoot up draft boards, or hopefully not for that matter. Von Miller tweets at OBJ to join Buffalo Bills. And honestly, that's kind of how it all materialized last year, where Von Miller tweeted him and he went to the Rams. All that went down.
What's that locker next to you look like?
So
I'm like, I get it.
I'm hearing reports that there's 3 teams. The first 2 teams are the obvious ones that have been connected to Odell since the day 1 of his free agency started. That's the Rams, because obviously he's won the chip there.
And he went to the wedding.
He went to the wedding. And then there is the Packers, because of the desperation, you would think, at the wide receiver 1 position. And you would imagine that there's going to be tons of targets for Odell, or Buffalo now, because Von Miller said so. And Odell kind of liked the tweet. It makes sense. He's going to pick a contender, but I think Odell's in a very good position, because he's going to get maximum dollar at the time of his signing.
Yeah, but what's maximum dollar, though? I mean, it's not going to be like maximum.
As long as he doesn't take it in crypto like he did last year, then it could be maximum dollar.
Silly.
maximum dollar as far as what he would get at all. So he's not going to get this big.
I mean, I don't think there's going to be a bidding war for Odell Beckham Jr.
Nobody's going to give him $10 million for half a season, but he could earn up to like 8 or 7 with incentives and things like that. And I think if he signed right now without the full bill of health, it would affect his salary a little bit.
I guarantee there'd probably be, if he signed right now, I want to assume that there would be some kind of not performance clauses, but like games played clauses. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you play the whole year, you can actually earn another $1 or whatever. So
maybe because of the prorated contract over a full season, he could earn more. But I think because teams know that they're not getting him until at least late October, early November, that affects the way they would proceed with the contract. Right. When he's the hottest commodity is when he gets the clean bill of health and he's able to practice and show teams what he's able to do. Then he could up his stock a little bit. One last thing to wrap up. Over in Texans camp, I've been hearing a lot of good things about Dameon Pierce. He's been working with the first team offense. Look, I'm seeing him go as late as 8 and 9 in rounds in fantasy football. I think those days are over. You could potentially get him maybe in the next couple weeks around 6 or 7, but even those days will end the later you draft. So Dameon Pierce is going to shoot up the draft boards. I would say mid-4th is where you're going to start seeing him go, because an RB1 on any team, a clear-cut RB1 with Rex Burkhead breathing down his neck, or who's the other guy? Marlon Mack?
Yes, Marlon Mack.
Two guys that have proven that they can't get it done.
I'm not banging down the door for any Texans player this year. So
you say that, but there's been some nice finds coming out of Texans because of the amount of they get overlooked. You could almost guarantee you that any Texan player you get that you start consistently, which there will be some, you could get them at a better value than where they're drafted because they're just not an exciting team. Nobody's looking at them as the team that you're going to put up points with, but down a lot in games. I think that there's a chance with Brandon Cooks. And the next guy that I'm going to mention, Nico Collins, won the starting number 2 receiver job. I'm not sure exactly who he was going up against, but he won the job nonetheless. No, Brandon Cooks is the one.
Oh, he's getting
Nico
the number
Collins
2.
Having a really strong camp, and he has a firm hold on the number 2 job. So there will be decent passes going his way. I can look for maybe about 6 or 7 targets a game. That's not so bad when you're trying to stream a flex option, and not for fantasy purposes, but I just want to mention the Mills Mafia. Davis Mills is turning heads in camp, and not just his own long ass neck head. He's turning a lot of heads in camp. He's stacking good practice on top of good practice. And Lovie Smith says,
stacking good practice. Yeah, he's throwing against the Texans defense. I'm sure he's lighting it up out there.
What we're talking about more so than his ability to read the defense and things is that he is unequivocally the leader of the team. And that's what Lovie Smith said. Lovie Smith has some respect amongst his locker room, I would imagine. And I think Davis Mills is headed towards a very Ryan Fitzpatrick-like career.
I don't
say so myself.
I would take Davis Mills over Daniel Jones right now. Anybody see those throws? I think I said it yesterday. Did you see the throw? Did you see the one?
Comment.
Yeah. Oh, hi, Nick. How's your quarterback doing so far? He looks really good. He threw it to the fucking hot dog guy that was giving out hot dogs at fan night.
That's it. And that is it for my rundown. Back to you, Dave.
All right. So as far as the Kevin Durant stuff, my God, like it's like he doesn't know how to stay out of the news or how to stay out of the headlines. Like the NBA offseason, it delivered like immediately because you had the draft and you had the free agency and all this other shit, right? But like now it's just like, all right, now it's the dead time. Now is the Drew League still happening? G League still happening? That's all done, right? Now we're actually in break mode.
Drew League is happening.
But it's like now it's break time, and now Durant's like, how can I get back in the? I got an idea. I'm going to put myself against the owners and the coaching staff. It's so. If I'm an owner of the team, and this is not like this is any player. I don't care who you are. If you're the best player in the world, right? Is certain amount of tolerable things to be like, that's just, Durant being Durant, right? And you just tolerate it, right? But like, this is constant bullshit. And if you want the fan base to get behind your team,
well, I don't think he gives a shit about the Brooklyn
this
Nets.
Shit no more. Give me 2 first-round picks. Call it a fucking day. Like, I'm done. Like this. I'm not a Nets guy, so I don't really care what you do. And if he goes to the Knicks, great. They'll make a statue for him immediately, right? But like, I would say, it's just not worth it to me. It's not worth it.
Right here, what it comes down to is I don't think that Durant is looking to make more noise again.
Well, he just did.
I think what happened was the ownership was trying to rectify the situation and see if they could fix it. So they invited Durant in for a meeting. And as a professional, you owe it to the franchise and yourself to see if you could come to any type of agreement. And they didn't see eye to eye in said meeting. So when there's a known meeting taking place, then you obviously know there's going to be questions that follow.
Yeah.
And apparently the meeting didn't go well and he still wants out. So it becomes news. Now, Kevin Durant looks like the jerk off, which I'm not the biggest fan of KD. I think he handles the media in a funny way. Like sometimes I'm on board and sometimes I'm like, this guy's a baby.
Right.
But at the same time, the modern day media sucks. And while Kevin Durant might be a little sensitive, he's not the first player, and he's certainly not going to be the last player to have a beef with his front office and demand to get traded.
Fair.
And look, I'm even going to say this, and I'm not trying to talk bad about Kobe because Kobe's Kobe. But when Kobe Bryant wanted out of LA, which he did, right? They were terrible. Kobe demanded a trade. They were trying to get Kobe fixed, and they couldn't get Kobe fixed. He just wanted out. In comes Jerry West, the Memphis Grizzlies team president at the time, and he sends Pau Gasol to the Lakers, and then the rest is history. They win a couple more titles. And then you see Pau Gasol getting his jersey retired by the Lakers.
Weird.
But Kobe wanted out too. Like it's not the first time. It's not going to be the last. And it's the modern day NBA. So we're just going to have to get used to it.
But speaking of the modern day.
Also, Nash sucks. Can we agree to that? So he might not be all wrong.
But look what he's been dealing with. Look what he's been dealing with. The Harden thing. The Ben Simmons is scared to play basketball. The fucking all this shit. Kyrie Irving doesn't want to play, and then he doesn't want to get back. This is a clusterfuck for him, and that sucks.
I'd say that there's more blame to fall on the shoulders of the GM for sure.
Sure, for putting all this shit in front of him.
It all together, but as a fan of the Nets, which I'm not, but you would imagine that when they were doing this, the Nets fans were on board. The players were on board. So it's kind of interesting.
Wasn't Nash brought in as like the players coach? You know what I mean? Like
I don't know. I think that
they got rid of Atkinson and he was a decent coach.
You need to bring in somebody that's not viewed as a peer. I think
Steve Nash saying, and that'll never work. It might work. I like Jason Kidd in Dallas. I like that a lot. Like I love that team actually. It's like I don't believe in the phrase second favorite team, but I love those Mavericks.
He gets a little more respect from current players than Steve Nash will.
And maybe because there's lineage there. Maybe because he's a former Maverick. That's where he started his career. So like there's other factors. I think Steve Nash coming into Brooklyn
there's just a little bit more time between his relevance in the NBA and Steve Nash's.
Yeah, maybe. Sticking over to football, Chris Payne, correspondent, Chop Sports correspondent, was actually at Jets camp yesterday, and apparently Mekhi Becton gave his son Chase a high five on his way to the training tent. So I was like, did you hurt him? And did you yell, hey, get your fat ass back in there? Like this whole Becton thing is, and I said this yesterday, if he's actually hurt, you got to cut your losses, man. This is the kind of thing, like you're realizing this now that it's not, the juice isn't worth the squeeze. You know what I'm saying? Like this dude packed on the poundage. Everybody made jokes about his weight and stuff like that. And it's justified. I'm not condoning making fun of somebody because of their weight. I'm
not going to cut him.
He's
a first round pick.
Yeah. Well, you want to be the first round pick to get cut.
Yeah. But
dude, like this is enough already. The guy can't stay healthy. He doesn't condition himself well enough to make it past 2 weeks of practice. He gets hurt now. Like when you're that heavy, and I said this yesterday in the show, like when you're that heavy, you have to be lighter on your feet. You can't carry all that weight up top.
No, it's not a good situation, but it's not, I don't think it's a good financial move. And then you're looking ahead at next year. If you can
trade
get back,
go get some value.
I would imagine that the best thing the Jets could do right now, and it's not there's really no good situation.
There's nothing to do. He's on the sidelines.
Going to have to deal with it and eat the contract.
He ate the contract already.
As long as, yeah, that's actually good. Eat the contract for as long as it takes for him to get healthy, and hopefully they could kick the tires on him again next year.
Kick the tire. You got to be careful. You can't do anything with this guy.
Don't kick too hard.
Yeah, exactly. The Dobbins thing is good to see because I was actually a fan of his last year. I wanted to see him in action, so I'm excited about that. Broncos thing. Yeah, the Carpenter thing kind of rubbed me the wrong way because just when you get the runs back and the Donaldson went off and like a bunch of those guys went off yesterday. They scored some runs and it's great. And then you see this happen and you're like, just the wind gets taken out of the sail again. And I'm not saying that the Yankees are going to ride or die with Matt Carpenter, right? Because he was a find. He was a find. This guy was on his couch doing nothing, and you came in and you said, hey, come play for the Yankees from time to time. Aaron Boone's hand was forced to play this guy because of how well he was doing, right? And he's hitting the ball. He's playing just overall great baseball. So you hate to see it. But again, just like yesterday, I'm not going to say, like, we lost Matt Carpenter. We're fucked. Like, we're not.
Yeah, no.
So I hope to see him back, grow out the stash a little longer, and we'll get him back for the playoffs. So
be all right.
Makes you wonder, though, who they're going to call up in his spot.
There's been rumors, and we talked about this in Nick, could be a Tyler Wade situation. We're bringing him back. We brought him back in a trade, or could be a Andahar situation. Like, they have options. It's just a matter of which way you want to go. I mean, you can't bring up one of these kids yet because it's just too much. Like, Volpe's not coming up anytime soon, I don't think.
Peraza,
right. So these guys aren't coming up anytime soon. So my assumption is, how many fucking options does Andahar have left?
I'm confused. I don't think many, but I'm confused. When they say replace him, like, we have guys to play all positions right now. I'm saying
there's no. What he's saying is there's going to be a roster spot.
Yeah, but we remember that's true. They'll probably bring up a pitcher.
Well, that's what he was asking. Who are they going to bring up in replacement?
But as far as what we were talking about last week around the deadline, it's like, well, what are they going to do with all these bats? And it's like, well, now you guys see what they're doing with all the bats. They're going to put them on the injured list, right? So when Stanton comes back,
Peraza. Well, I think it's you don't want to.
Do we still got Marwin?
Yeah,
Gonzalez. Yeah, he played the other day. He's another find. Imagine that. Like, Marwin Gonzalez wasn't like heavily touted. When we brought him in, I was like, oh, great, a fucking Astro. You know what I mean? Like, I don't want this douche. But he's been serviceable. He's been playing.
Right.
He's kind of like your boy from last year, Odor.
Yeah.
That's the kind of role I feel he fit in right away.
Odor is so much tougher.
I mean, yeah, he knocked the shit out of Gonzo.
Gonzo? I still think that.
What's
no, it was Jose Bautista. That's got to go down as like one of the best
baseball moment maybe in the last 25 years.
The punch in the face?
Yeah,
I mean, it was just, oh, man, what a shot.
Lit him up.
What a shot. Anyway, good rundown. Good to get you back to do that kind of rundown because, like I said, I wasn't really running anything down yesterday. But anyway, I do want to let you guys know that part of the Chop Sports Daily is being brought to you by the Fusco Insurance Agency. I got to finally do the full read now because haven't had it. You guys worried that you're going to run out of money in retirement or how you pay for long-term health care? Will your family be okay? Stop worrying and start planning. A comprehensive retirement plan gives you greater security over your money. Fusco can help. As president of the Fusco Insurance Agency, Michael can work with you to create a comprehensive retirement plan. They'll explore using life insurance and annuities to help you build a more secure future so you can worry a little bit less now. Call 718-701-5787 to schedule your complimentary consultation. 718-701-5787. Guarantees and protections are subject to the claims paying ability of the issuing company. Some insurance policies are not available in all states. And of course, if you are a small business owner and you want to do some finance work, you could do that using his prestigetaxfinancing.com/business financing for anywhere from $300 up. You can finance that. So, I mean, if you have to finance something that's $300, I mean, I'm not knocking you, but I just wouldn't do it. I would just pay cash, but that's just me. But you have to have a 540 FICO score as well to qualify for that. And I do also want to give a couple shout outs before Gooch gets into his Grundle rundown. A shout out to Dad Chat, our social media platform that we've partnered up with. Obviously, shout out to Glenn and those boys that keep advancing this thing. I finally got back into that thing yesterday because it's very, very overwhelming. There's a lot going on. So, like, I was just trying to, like, ease back into it, told everybody about the show. So maybe a couple new viewers today. SteveAspara.com is building our new and improved ChopSportsMedia.com. So he's working on that as well. I talked about Hater Fantasy Football yesterday because we did the commercial and stuff. And I do want to bring up a new, advertiser with us, and that's Lowell's Beauty Bar down the hall. They're like right there. They're like 8 steps down the hall. They're doing it all over there. They're actually responsible for doing the makeup to the girls that were here for the Hater Fantasy Sports, the makeup and the hair. And they do custom shirts and stuff. That they got a whole wall set up. You got to go down there. There's like a whole, Lauren's been just going ape shit with that press machine. So there's custom creations over there. Go check them out. Lowell's Beauty Bar. Gooch with the Grundle.
Yes. So guys, shave your balls, shave your ass. If you head on over to manscaped.com, use the promo code ShopSports, you get 20% off, and it'll be able to assist you in doing just that. They got the porcelain blade that's like a smooth kiss on your taint, and you don't feel a goddamn thing. It reduces the risk of nicks and cuts. And then when you apply the lather and the exfoliator, it gets rid of all those extra loosey-gooseys. And then you take the Crop Shaver 2.0 and you get as close as you'd like, just not too close because that's weird. And it also comes equipped with the Weed Whacker and Lawnmower, or the Weed Whacker ear and nose hair trimmer. And that's for the disgusting ear hairs that you get around my age, and the nose hairs that you get in general. So everyone gets them boogie hairs. You get rid of them nice and easy. Manscaped.com, promo code CHOPSports. Back to you, Dave.
20% off. Getting involved here. We continue our by the way, as I say, getting involved here, there's a bunch of new episodes on the podcast network. So if you want to go check out some of those, you got the brand new Fight Factory with August Artois. He is a star over at Control Your Narrative. You also have a brand new Jimmy Palumbo show. I jumped on with that yesterday. He talks about, it's riveting stuff, really. I mean, he's talking about his blinkers going out in his car, and it makes you laugh, it makes you cry. You're going to be hanging on to your seat the entire time. Go check out Jimmy Palumbo show, and of course, a sit down with Sturch dropped today with my friend Gary Turner, G6 himself. That monstrosity walked through the door yesterday, and we talked all about his come up in the world of bodybuilding. So, with that being said, time to move on to the hot Atlanta Falcons. It is usually we have fun with these, and usually there's a lot of high expectations and high intensity and high praise, I guess, with most of these teams that have a little bit of hope. Even when we went over to the Texans, it was just like, all right, find me the win. I'm going to play that game again, Gooch. It is now another Find Me the Win Tuesday with the Atlanta Falcons. They're coming in, as you see, with a 7-10 record last year. They had Matt Ryan. They had Calvin Ridley. They had the emergence of Kyle Pitts. They had a decent Cordarrelle Patterson all of a sudden was just like the new position redefined, almost like a Deebo Samuel, doing everything from the backfield, from the slot, whatever. So they had some times where they were doing well, and then there were some times where they just got the shit kicked out of them, and that was basically the tale of two seasons. Unfortunately for the Falcons, they're coming in with the second lowest win total according to Las Vegas. They're coming in at 5. That's alarming, to say the least. Their losses, as I just said, Matt Ryan takes his talents to the Indianapolis Colts. Dante Fowler goes to Dallas. I mean, he wasn't, that big of a part, but he's a Dan Quinn guy, so he wanted to go over there. They lose Hayden Hurst, their backup tight end, who was to Kyle Pitts. So, no harm, no foul. They brought in Fursker. So there is a backup tight end over there. They lose Calvin Ridley to gambling. So you don't have Calvin Ridley this year. They had Mike Davis as one of their running backs. He's gone. Russell Gage goes and joins Tampa Bay. Smart. And, of course, their star-studded backup quarterback, Josh Rosen, takes all that talent up to Cleveland. So those are losses. The gains, good Lord. Free agency wasn't kind to them. Fursker they brought in Casey Hayward, the corner. He's all right, Auden Tate, I believe he played in Cincinnati. Okay, great. The draft is where I think they did rather well. They had early picks. Obviously, Drake London is somebody that we've talked about already in fantasy conversations when we're talking about rookie emerging receivers that could do well. Whatchamacall? A couple, edge rusher in the second round, a Becky or something like that. Troy Anderson, linebacker. They do draft Desmond Ridder as the quarterback of the future, maybe. I don't know. We'll see. But a third-round pick, when you spend that high of draft capital, you expect something. And I'm not saying he's ever going to get in because I don't think he does, Gooch. I don't think he does.
I disagree.
You think Desmond Ridder is going to start for the Atlanta Falcons in 2022?
Yes. At some point. Yeah. Absolutely.
Huh. Yeah, I think so.
You think so too?
Yeah. I mean, he was one of the better quarterbacks in this draft, aside from obviously Kenny Pickett, who was the only quarterback to go in the first round. But yeah, I think he has a little bit more of a better situation because Mariota, you don't really know he can get injured and tap in.
He has gotten injured. He's only started, I think, 3 games in 3 seasons.
You don't know
how he wasn't really the starter last year. He was just backing up and had the packages for the Las Vegas Raiders. So looking at their team real quick, Mariota, obviously, I think it's a season-long thing. I don't foresee Ridder coming in at any point, even though the Falcons fans might get very restless. And shout out to Ibby, who was in there, who's in the chat right now.
On a rookie quarterback,
I don't know,
some decent weapons. I think
they didn't have money. Apparently, they're in cap hell. But really, Ibby, we can't use that anymore. We can't use the phrase cap hell. No, you really can't because the cap has been proven to be almost mythical.
The cap is only mythical. The only time the cap is mythical is when you're a contender. If you're a team that's picking in the top half of the first round or even earlier in the top 5, top 10, then who's gonna manipulate the salary cap to stick around? You're not sticking around for a chance at winning a ring. That's when the cap is a myth. But the Falcons, they're very much so dealing with a cap situation because thinking about it, is you're gonna be like, yeah, I'll restructure for a chance at what?
Right.
Top 10 pick.
Their running back situation right now, Cordarrelle Patterson, as I mentioned before, they do sign Damian Williams, who's now a seasoned vet. He's been everywhere. He's been in Chicago. He's been to Kansas City. How high are your hopes on Tyler, their running back?
I like him a lot.
Yeah.
I do like him a lot. I think he's going to get some decent work this season. Cordarrelle Patterson, I don't know if last year was a flash in the pan, but we're going to have to find out because look, at year 10 or year 11 that I think Patterson is in at this point, and for him to finally find footing as a starter in the league, not that he hasn't had success, but, you know, I need to see a little bit more. I do think Patterson will have splashes and he'll be solid for them, but it's a little bit different situation with no Matt Ryan there. Mariota might be
Mariota is throwing to Drake London, who's listed as wide receiver 1.
And he is. He's having a really good camp. Drake London's the real deal.
Holy hell.
He's the real deal. Kyle Pitts is
They bring in Brian Edwards from
wide receiver 1.
Who?
I mean, Pitts is going to be the main. Maybe
pass
not. Like,
catching one.
To me, I think the Falcons have potential on offense this year. I really do.
Really?
Yeah. With those two, at least to score some points. And when I say potential, I don't think the Falcons are going to win many football games because they're the second hardest schedule in football. I don't know how that worked out.
Yeah,
I feel bad for the Falcons going into this one. They have a harder schedule than Tampa.
That is weird. Well, I mean, they're also not as a good team as Tampa. So anyway, they do have Kyle Pitts.
Yeah, but it's based on.
I know what it's based on, but I'm saying like sometimes that's just not the way the cookie crumbles there, Gooch. Their offensive line is offensive line at the end of last year was the ranked 27th offensive line. Guys, going into this year, shout out to Marcus Mariota. We'll be running your balls off. They're 31st.
Still sure about that Desmond Ridder not getting a start this year?
by proxy, I mean, if Mariota gets knocked silly, then yes, enter Ridder, and that's why you draft a guy like that.
Ridder is turning heads in camp.
All right,
Keywords of the day: turning heads in camp. Ridder's having a good camp so far.
Two guys, there's two guys on defense that jump off for me. Grady Jarrett's always been kind of serviceable. AJ Terrell, I wanted him as a Dallas corner. That didn't happen, but they're coming in 29th ranked secondary, 30th overall defense.
See,
it's going to be tough sledding, man.
I disagree with the secondary. I think their secondary is going to.
They let up a lot of yards.
A lot of people wrong. I think their secondary. AJ Terrell is one of the most underrated corners in football. He could lock people down. Now, the opposite AJ Terrell, that might be another story. But I know that at least one half of the field, they're not even going to go there. They really won't.
I mean.
They really look at.
You're looking at AJ Terrell right now as somebody you can't throw on.
I'm not saying that you can't throw on him, but why would you?
I mean, you pick on the lesser guys, sure, but it's like.
So my point is, if you look at how often he was targeted last year, it wasn't much.
Yeah, but you act as if like, all right, so if the Raiders go over there and they're not the Raiders, they're not playing the Raiders, but like the Saints, right? Michael Thomas is wide receiver 1, or whoever they draft as wide receiver 1. You know, like. If AJ Terrell lines up on there, they're not gonna be like, oh, I can't. I'm sorry, like I can't throw you the ball, dude. They're gonna take chances on AJ Terrell. I think he's good. I just don't think he's like.
I mean, I'm not saying that they won't, and I'm not saying that they avoid him because he's the best corner in football. But I'm just talking about pure numbers. AJ Terrell wasn't. He was one of the seldom targeted corners in football last year. So no matter which one,
maybe just said it. They just said check the stats. Nobody threw at him. I just disagree. That's going to be the case this year. That's all I'm saying. All right, let's get to their schedule. It's a tough sledding. Remember, Vegas wants them to have 5. The money bet is actually coming in on the over. Okay, you have to bet the over to make some plus money.
Ridley put in a bet.
I know, I saw that before. Ridley put in a bet that Ridley would be in there by
Imagine they had Ridley. Ridley would have been traded if they had Ridley. Honestly, I think Ridley would have been gone.
They barely
he's
had
brand
him last
new
year, too.
What do you mean?
I mean, he's like 2 years in.
He's definitely not
3 years in.
So if DK and all these McLaurin guys were like due for their contract this year, he's a year older than them.
Is he?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ridley's going into Ridley would be in his 4th season this year.
Has he been buried under Julio? Is that like, you know what I mean?
He was buried. Like Ridley's has really good numbers.
Yeah,
that's
but I'm saying like I don't know, man. I feel like
he's
a lot younger. I don't know why. That's
Ridley's this would be Ridley's 4th year, and yeah, I think he would have been
Ridley's in his 4th year.
Yeah, he would have been a prime trade candidate going into this season if he wasn't suspended.
All right, so I was off by a year, so it wasn't like I said 3rd. You know. Anyway, schedule time. All right, starting off against the Saints. Oh, boy, I mean, I'm not going to go through all this because it's tough sledding. I believe they might get their first win week 4 against the Browns, and that's a home game. So if you want to like give them a little credit, give them their flowers at home, sure. But then the wins, they come seldom. They got the Bears in week 11 at home. I could see Atlanta winning that game. They got oh God, Arizona in week 17. For me, I just think, dude, all teams go through this. This is a complete rebuild. Matt Ryan was your quarterback for the last 80 years. You know what I'm saying? So it's been tough sledding as he gets into the twilight of his career. You lose a guy like Calvin Ridley. You don't have Julio anymore after the last 2 years when he got shipped off. So they knew it. The writing was on the wall. This team was going to be not what it once was. But now it's like, how many years away are we from even remotely conversating that they can run? Like, do we have to wait for Tom Brady to retire for a ninth time? You know what I mean? Like, or are they going to run with a guy like Jameis Winston and the Saints? Or, like that division in itself is tough. But Carolina, to me, and I said it yesterday, Carolina's got potential. And I know you don't like Baker, but I think they can win some games. So what I'm asking you, Gooch, now is how long are the Falcons going to be the basement dwellers of the NFC South?
Honestly, they might not be finished last this year. I don't think Carolina is going to be as good as you do. I think McCaffrey's going to get hurt, and I think that Baker sucks. I know that Atlanta. I'm not saying Atlanta is going to be good this year because I think with that schedule and the clear situation that they're dealing with at quarterback and offensive line, that just doesn't bode well. I can't see Atlanta winning many games, but as far as how long will they be basement dwellers, I think that all depends on if Desmond Ridder's the guy or not. If Desmond Ridder comes in and he lights the world on fire in midseason and he plays well, good quarterback play changes everything. So if Desmond Ridder is the guy, they can make a push for at least a division as early as next year. If Tom Brady retires, well, think about the Saints. Where are they at? They're kind of middle of the road right now. New coaching system. Jameis Winston rolled his ankle. He's already
hurt. That was yesterday. So Paulman said this morning it was yesterday.
So there's not to say that matters down the line in a season or two, but the Saints aren't really figured it out at quarterback. Jameis is on a 1-2 year deal.
Yeah.
That's not a franchise quarterback deal at all. And Carolina, if Baker doesn't work out and Sam Darnold doesn't work out, then they're back to square one.
Well, I got Matt Corral.
Same thing with Ridder. You know what I mean? So there's some hope for Atlanta, but that hope is the same with the Jets, and it's the same with the Jaguars, and that's all about how their young quarterback that they invested draft capital in is going to turn out. They could build all the pieces around him. If the quarterback doesn't work out, it's not going to work out. I will say this though, I am definitely pulling for Desmond Ridder because we pulled a 9 of 15 Desmond Ridder autograph card in a Draft Chronicles box, and
so nobody got that. I thought that was who got the autograph of Mike Vick helmet? There was some random.
That was the guy that won the eBay break.
Okay.
Yes.
All that stuff is still. I'm gonna get it. And like the more I look at it, and the more I focus in on it, I'm gonna understand.
The good thing about the Ridder card though is other than the 1 of, which if you get in numbered cards, 1 of 15 would be the good one or the best one. But in this case, Desmond Ridder wearing number 9, and it's card 9 of 15. So that's like the very sought after numbered card. So the regular card going for like 125, even though I haven't seen it sold, that's what they're priced at. This one probably like 250, maybe 2
for a guy. Right. You haven't taken a damn snap
if he plays well, but there's all about it's a lotto
ticket. I would
ticket.
sell high.
It's a lotto ticket. It's a lotto ticket. No, because 2014 Derek Carr, Joe bought it for like $4 and it's like 8,000. So
8,000? Derek
maybe
Carr.
5. It's the one of one Derek Carr Prism 2014 auto. It's like the best one,
and he's had that since 14.
Yeah,
so he's been doing this car collecting for a little while, like under the radar.
Yeah.
So now it's time to just sell it.
I wouldn't say 8,000, and it's not graded or anything like that, but yeah, it's definitely his prized card.
So how many wins are the Falcons getting, Gooch? I mean, they're sitting there at 5. I say if I want to be really adventurous, I don't know. Either way, I'm going to go with I'm going to say they can squeeze a 5.
Yeah,
squeeze
I
a
think
5.
The 5 is
pushing
a good number.
A 5. I don't see any more than that, but I do see as less as like 3.
I think the Falcons are going to be one of those teams that don't win many games, but everyone likes watching them.
But they try really hard.
No, they're going to be an exciting team because they have the.
Can they be the 2021 Lions, like cover spreads?
I wouldn't
say
that. I'm not sure about their makeup and their toughness, but I know that they're going to have some flash on offense with Kyle Pitts, Drake London, Cordero Patterson.
I'm excited for another running back.
Mariota, he's not the guy that I think could carry a team for the full season, but something about him, he just seems like a gamer, and he plays hard, plays well. He does whatever he needs to do to get it done. I think that's going to lead to an injury like it has in the past. And then hopefully Desmond Ridder comes in and shows them that they invested well in the 3rd round pick.
it'd be saying if they win 5, he'll be shocked. He's like, that would be an absolute win of a season.
Yeah.
Actually,
or it would
if
be a
you
loss.
really want to get technical, that's not a winning season.
Yeah, Bryce
looking
for I don't know. See, like taking the quarterback in the 3rd round, that handcuff them early rounds next year. If they do fail, do they not take a quarterback in the 1st round next year? If they get a top 3 pick?
I don't know the class yet. I don't dive into. Apparently, the quarterbacks are way better. So when the Giants are picking 4th and they have a decision to make or something like that for next year, it could be bye-bye Daniel Jones. I know that'll break the hearts of one Nick over there, but since he's so adamant that this guy's going to lead him to the promised land, along with the resurgence of Saquon Barkley, the Giants are in for.
I trust Saquon more.
Yeah, I'm sure you trust anybody. Don't trust anybody on the New York Giants. I mean, look. You can trust the new regime. I like those guys.
I'll tell you what, Evan Neal, though. Do you see the videos of him?
Is he murdering people?
Yeah. He looks like an NFL player. He looks
like
he played football his whole life.
I'm so happy about that they got him and Thibodeau in that draft.
Yeah. Kayvon seems like a pretty cool guy. I listened to his interview on The Fan the other day. He seemed pretty cool.
Seems like I think if
there's weirds me out.
Very
you can get rid of the
personalities right there to me. I think like Evan Neal is like a blue collar guy, fits right in with the Giants. I feel like Thibodeau should have been on the Dolphins.
Yeah, we're naked now. We're naked now, by the way. We got nothing on.
Woo!
Look, I get the breeze here. There we go. Anyway,
he's got a big personality, so that'll.
It's not really
the things that weird me out about these rookies that come in, and this goes to for anybody that I talk to, like, I find it weird when guys come in and they're like, for instance, Gio asked him, who'd you follow growing up? And he's like, well, I didn't really watch football until like high school. Like, isn't that weird to you? Like when you make the joke and we make light of it, like this guy's played football his whole life. And that's a funny thing, but like, how do you not, like if you're at the NFL level, you would assume that your education at least started way back when.
No, because sometimes
I don't know, it weirds me out.
Sometimes it's about like the situation you're in as a youth. You don't get put into things, and then you get into an age where there's a coach that sees you, and they're like, "Hey, get over here. You ever play D-end?"
If I go tell you to chase that
things
guy,
like that happen, and that's more common than you think. Guys just don't get the opportunity because of either a financial situation or an upbringing, or just they don't have.
You can't use the financial thing. That's a hockey thing. You can't do that.
No. I mean, it 100% is. It's like if you don't,
shoulder pads are expensive.
That's just my way of saying like, there's a lot of variables. It could be financial. It could be they're just not interested. It could be like, you know what? I love video games until I was 14.
Truth. Okay.
Kid, they're young now too, Dave.
Fantasy question coming in here from Casey Hammond. If you had to, gun to your head, take CMC or Saquon, who are you taking?
I mean, what do you mean? You don't have to.
No, but you do. Let's just say you do.
Cam Akers is on the board there. I guarantee it.
I'm taking Saquon all day.
I guarantee you Cam Akers is on the board. I guarantee you.
A lot of people. Listen, I'm not saying it's going to happen, but I see a lot of people with CMC hopes. Like you can't get hurt
close
this many years in a row, can you?
CMC, not even close.
Yeah, I've been spurned too many times by that man to fucking warrant taking him in fantasy football.
I'm taking CMC 10 times out of 10, by the way. Like actually 11 times out of 10 if that's an actual thing. Like that, there's no way I'm sitting there with Saquon, dude.
And then when Christian McCaffrey breaks, tears, or does whatever the hell he does to his legs or lower body.
I'm sorry. Has Saquon Barkley been the epitome of health the last couple years, bro? Hey. He's been a fucking piece of glass, my friend.
He's had no offensive line.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. You're like, oh, and CMC gets hurt. Like Saquon's had any kind of season where he's like, man, I'm the clean bill of health. Like, no, you're not.
They both have really good quarterbacks.
Oh yeah, I mean,
both of them are terrible.
I take Baker Mayfield over Daniel Jones.
No.
Yes,
I know Baker sucks. I think Daniel Jones, there still is a potential Tannehill situation brewing there, but just not with the Giants.
Casey, but you don't have to. Fucking Gooch being that guy at the party about a hypothetical. You do ruin things like that. Yeah. Like, gun to your head. No, but it's not to my head. It's actually not to my head.
Is there nobody else available in this draft? It's like, damn, there's like last round here, all players
Mr. Irrelevant.
It's like a 66-round draft. All running backs are gone. Like, is there anyone on the practice squad over in KC, or do I really have to take McCaffrey?
Bill Belichick kind of making a new running back this year. He kind of molds them every spring into summer. Oh my God! All the Falcons are in a stink, and it sucks for the Falcons fans. There are a couple left. Matt Ibanez being one of them, the host of at least you got the Mets, Ibby. I mean, the Mets are rolling. I downloaded the horns to work out to.
Kyle Pitts, Drake London, Cordero Patterson will be mainstays in fantasy football lineups all season long. So 3 potential starters like week in, week out. To me, that's watchable football. Yes. I love that. So give me the Falcons down a lot and chasing points all day.
You better watch yourself, bro. Oh my God. Anyway, Mom, get out of the chat. Go to work. Do something. Anyway, so that's a show. I mean, what time? Wow, all right, it's a little early. I kind of figured this was going to happen because of the Falcons and just not having much to talk about and like to break down their entire schedule because it's just like not worth doing. Tomorrow on the show, we will be doing the New Orleans Saints. So now you can just drool over your boy Jameis Winston and that whole team. That team might be a lot better than what people might be thinking. I foresee them as maybe a fringe playoff team next year. We'll see. We'll talk about the Saints then. And then Thursday, I think, Scoop, I told you already, I think you're going to be sitting in the hot seat on Thursday for the Panthers as Wrestling Rob will either produce or he won't be here. I don't know. I got to figure all this out. There's a lot to do today. But be sure to please go check out chopsports.shop right now. It looks brand new because there's a brand new logo and a brand new line of things that Gooch worked on while he was I feel like he had his laptop set up here and he had one of those the silver trays as it was catching rays and stuff. And he was just like, I would get texts throughout the day randomly like, hey, look, this is done. Hey, look, this is done.
Hey, look, I'm like, meetings where there's like a guy with a green screen behind him, but he's on like a jet ski moving around. I was making graphics, hopping around.
Gooch, this one's completely crooked. Yeah, it was a weird wave. I don't know. I just caught the wrong side of that wave. But anyway, chopsports.shop. That's to get all your Chop Studios merch. Chop Studios, wow, I stuttered on that one. Chop Studios is now available for rent. So for all of your audio, video, content creation needs, check out Chop Studios NJ on Instagram for some of the stuff. The website will be done by September 1st for your booking needs and all that stuff. So be sure to check that out. If you want to create a podcast, if you want to, I don't know. There's just so many things. We shot a commercial here Friday. So there's so many ways to do it. And yeah, we're your guys for that. So I actually like Saquon this year, according to AJ. Well, AJ, you also thought that the Washington Commanders were going to win 12 fucking games last year, along with their Antonio Gibson bullshit.
Is it crazy that Antonio Gibson is like creeping back into favor?
It really is. Like, I've been doing mock drafts. I'm like, why is Gibson here? I don't want this.
And I'm like, this motherfucker had a fractured leg last year, and he played all 17 games. You know, Gibson, and he had goal line usage. When you look at the numbers at the end of the season, it just didn't materialize in any one game. But it body of work, it was good. So. AJ, are we back on AJ Gibson? Let me know. I am.
Now it's AJ Gibson, by the way.
Antonio Gibson. AJ and Antonio Bascone.
You threw it all together.
Gibson and Antonio Bascone. Those guys fuck.
They slap, dude. Oh, I love you, AJ. I miss you, buddy. I feel like I haven't seen either of those guys. The whole crew over there. That must be grinding. It is baseball season after all, still, Susan. So you can go check out the Sauce Network as they go live and they do all their free picks online on the line over at YouTube. You can go check them out as well. Yeah, that's it. That's all we got. So thank you guys for watching. Please like the video if you haven't already. Tell your Falcon fan friends if they exist or they haven't buried themselves yet. Go tell them that we just did a nice little short and sweet preview for the Atlanta Falcons. And tomorrow we'll get the New Orleans Saints and move on and so forth and all that shit. So for Sturch and Gooch and, of course, Nick behind the glass, this has been another episode of the Chop Sports Daily.
It has.
We'll see you guys tomorrow. It has indeed.